Are you looking to build an exceptional team? Our hiring toolkit bundle at LuAnnNiagara.com/store is your comprehensive source for success. Craft compelling job descriptions, know the right interview questions to ask, and implement a thorough evaluation process so you get the right person. These were developed in collaboration with my cousin Eileen Hahn and based on her 40 years of experience in building exceptional teams, plus my insights from 1,000 plus interviews. Our toolkits are tested and proven. Whether you're scaling from 1 to 3 or from 3 to 10 or from 10 to 20, the Hiring Toolkit Bundle provides the guidance that you can use to plan your hiring strategy effectively. Go to LuAnnNiagara.com/store and invest in your success by investing in the success of your team. Welcome to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn Niagara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Today, I am joined by two people, two friends of mine, who are continuing an important shift in our industry, creating more opportunities for you, the interior designer, to have real, honest conversations about the business side of what you do. You know that this is something I care extremely deeply about. It is actually the foundation of the show, and I just love to see it expand in meaningful ways. Today, I have Rachel Usher with me, luxury interior designer and founder of the Business of Interiors and the host of If These Walls Could Talk podcast. She's located in London, England. I also have Rick Campos, business coach and host of the Design Biz Survival Guide podcast. Together, these two people have built the Business of Interiors Community Summit, which is having its third annual event coming up this June in London, England. These two have created an intimate, focused event designed to bring designers together to talk about what's actually happening in their business. Now, what I love about this conversation today is that, yes, we're talking about an event, but more importantly, we are talking about the value of getting in the room. Not a room where you're just inspired, but a room where you can ask questions, share challenges, and hear how your peers are actually doing the things in their business. If you've ever felt like you're figuring things out on your own, or that you'd benefit from hearing how others are navigating the same challenges, and you'd benefit by being in that room talking about it, then this episode is for you. I'm happy to introduce you to Rachel and Rick. Well, Rick and Rachel, I'm so delighted to welcome you both back. First time together, but both back to A Well-Designed Business. Thanks for being here today.
Hi, LuAnn. It's so great to be back. Thank you for having us.
Hi, LuAnn. Thank you. I'm so pleased to be here with you both. Thank you.
So I'm excited about this conversation because you two are the founders of the Business of Interiors Community Summit, which happens in the UK. This summer is going to be the third annual summit. And I was very delighted, honored, privileged, humbled, all of the adjectives to have been included last year. And I'm being included, thankfully, to the both of you this year as well. And it's funny because I said to you both off air, last year, when I could see your website and what you had done the year before and anticipated being a part of it, of course, I had all good thoughts around it. I had all good, good mojo and expected great things. But being there and experiencing it was I mean, incredible is a tough word, and people think that you exaggerate, but it was incredible. You guys have put together an event that at the same time is high level experience for the designer on the journey of being in your summit, from a luxury standpoint, from a quality standpoint, from, a service and a red carpet standpoint. But my criteria is the business. I always say to designers, it really doesn't matter if you send them champagnes and strawberries at the end if you've totally tortured your client for the 6 months previous. Like, what are you doing? You think some strawberries and champagne make up for it? Because that feels ritzy. And so, the business part, like, this is why I am like speechless over it, because every speaker you had, I'm there with an open mind, and you are my friends and I want you to succeed. But I'm still like, Rick knows me really well. Like, Rachel, you're getting there. I'm like super critical. I'm like, that's bull crap. That's not right. Well, that moderator is a dumb question. Well, that's a dumb answer. That person is smarter than that. You didn't find the truth of them. And I just like every single panel and discussion and presentation, I was like, whoa, that nailed it. That was amazing. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm talking a lot, but I really wanted to just say out loud for the record how super impressed I am by the content and the quality that you presented in. And I can't say enough for designers from all over the country and the world to consider attending. So thank you guys for putting together such a thing. And I guess there's no question there. So let me bring it to a question for you. Did you guys imagine it the way it unfolded these last 2 years, or did it exceed expectations? Or because we've all of us have run live events now, and you have it in your mind where you're going, and sometimes you get there, and sometimes, like at LuAnn Live, they have 3 people in a restaurant that services 200, and you're just like, OMG, this totally fell apart on the experience expectations. So talk to me about your observations of running this together across a continent from each other and all the things.
Rachel, I'm going to defer to you first because I know you have a story, and then I'm going to add to it for sure.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess my starting point was that I first came to Rick's event in LA 4 or 5 years ago. And I was, again, an international attendee and didn't really know the people in the room. But the people in the room that resonated with me the most were the designers on Rick's. He had a panel and he had 3 really quite big name designers that, like I say, from the UK, I didn't really know the significance of who they were. So I guess when we were bringing together the UK, one of the barriers initially was, are designers going to come and sit on my panel and be really candid and really honest? That was the first hurdle. And then we just kind of aimed high. It was like, who do we really want to hear from? And if we reach out to them and have a conversation, will they buy into the idea of building this community and having these conversations? And really, that's what we did. So in year 1, we brought together a particular panel of 3 designers, and there was Laura Hammer, Fiona Barrett-Campbell, and Karen Howes on that panel all together. And these are big names. And at the end of that conversation, the designers that had been on the panel said, I never thought I'd sit here and have this conversation with these other 2 people. They had kind of admired them from afar, and they kind of got into it. They was interested to know each other's processes and what they'd done to succeed. And for me, selecting designers that have clearly grown a business and sustained a business and reached, a measure of success, which is subjective, isn't it? But reached a degree of success that actually I think they must have something to give. Then that was really the approach that we took again on year 2. And last year, obviously, we tried to vary the designers in terms of their approach. I mean, you couldn't get more opposites, And we had Noor from Celine and we had Jojo Barr from House 9. And, these 2 designers couldn't be more opposite, but equally successful in their own right. And I think that sitting in the audience and listening to them and their approach to design and their approach to business, actually not really their approach to design at all, absolutely their approach to business, you can take seeds of it away and relate to it. Not all of it, but there's elements of what everybody says that you can kind of interweave into your own journey. And that was really the approach that we took. But Rick, over to you in terms of how you found it, because you've had to rely on us to say to you, we think these are a great candidate to go on and,
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, it was like such an honor for Rachel to even say, hey, will you partner with me on this? And can we replicate what I experienced in the States, here in the UK? I mean, for her to even come all the way from the UK to my retreat was like insane. I thought it was a typo. I'm like, UK? Is that like a typo? Is it, she really from Arkansas? Should this be AK or something like that? It's like, okay, well, this is amazing. And then, as we spoke, she had said, we don't really have this in the UK, and I would like to, see more of this. And then to see her incredible initiative to go back, launch a podcast, and then a year later say, okay, let's figure out how we can have some sort of summit here so that we can create that same community that I experienced, in the States, was incredible. And I agree with you, Rachel. Like, she asked me, how do you do it? And I just said, listen, exactly what she just said. That's the recipe. You aim high, you ask, the worst they can say is no. And I think that it was really a real call to action for those designers in the UK to have these conversations, not only with each other, but in front of an audience, and feel that sense of community, which is so valuable. And it's something that I think a lot of designers don't realize is missing until they experience it. And then they're like, oh my gosh. Because, for example, Rachel, on year one, I sat at lunch with Laura and Fiona, and they didn't stop talking to each other for 45 minutes. It was like no one else was in the room. And I was thinking to myself, like, don't you guys already do this all the time? And they didn't.
Right. We're so accustomed to it here in the US, right?
They run in the same circle and they know who each other are, but they never really had a real conversation. And it was so interesting just to see that synergy in the moment.
Well, what I love is, and what I'm hearing is like that exact moment, like Rachel, you initiated that conversation there, and Rick, you tied it up. It's like, here you have two iconic, designers in the UK that are not garden variety designers. They're who they are. And you're watching them on stage, literally. And then in lunch, it sounds like as well, literally be like, I do it this way, you do it that way. Oh, that's a really cool idea. Like, it's like, we're, the people, the designers that follow them and, that admire them, we think they've got it all put together. And what you learn is they do have it all put together, but they still need the space to be a human that says, is this really the best way to do a thing? Like, this is a way I've done it and it works, but is there another point of view? And at the end of the day, yes, they're iconic designers, but to them, they're just hardworking people. Like, how many conversations one-on-one that I've had with Corey Damon Jenkins here in the US, panel discussions at my live events. And that is the same quality that Corey Damon has. It's like, look, School of Hard Knocks, I figured out how to run a business, yada, yada, yada. And these are the things that work for me, but how do you do it? I'll take a hint here and there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that was really awesome. And then the other thing that I noticed, and I think I said it to you guys when we were there in London last year, you had me as, well, obviously the two of you opened up the day, but you put me first. And what I did after your opening was I did my top 10 negotiables that I have what is the word I want? Observed. I wanted to put advised and observed in the same word. Hello. That I have observed that all successful business owners do. Interior design firms, window treatment firms, cupcake bakers, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And I listed these 10 things. And then it was crazy because Nor was not at my presentation, Nor came in after lunch to do her presentation. And I was like, she was incredibly savvy businesswoman. You could just, every word she said, it was like, it made total sense. And I was like, it was almost as if she took my 10 principles and she's like, let me explain how these 10 principles work in my firm. And I was like, this is beyond bonkers. But see, that's the measure
Yeah.
of my 40 plus years experience running a business, my 1,100 conversations with interior designers, and saying this is the blueprint. And then a successful international designer literally going, when I look back on my career and I think about the things that differentiated me and made me successful as a businesswoman, it's these things. And that kept being repeated throughout the day. And I was like, see, I'm not making this stuff up. There's nothing new in business. You just got to do it. You know?
Right.
And so
it's important.
It's so rare.
Yeah, it's important to note the delivery too, going back to that kind of human level, that everything is delivered. Like, yes, we have some very talented, very incredible design business professionals that are there speaking and that are also sitting in the audience with us. But, you know, for people who are wondering what these retreats and summits are like, yes, it looks beautiful on Instagram and it looks beautiful on the website, and it is beautiful. We work very hard to make it an amazing experience, but it's not intimidating. And I know it's hard to see that from the outside. The only way you can experience that is from the inside. And that's why people come back over and over again, because once you're on the inside, that intimidation factor, it dissipates, and everyone is just on a human level. And no matter how many years they've been doing it, how incredibly talented they are, and how big you're crushing, you know, because we all have a crush. It's not intimidating. It's community at its best.
Yeah. I mean, what I noticed was, as participants, there were people there, like, you have one of the speakers for this year that was a participant last year, runs a firm in the UK and Dubai and has like 30 employees. And she was a participant, but also sitting next to her, I met women that are solo designers, 2 and 3 years in business. And to your point, the room is small enough and intimate enough that you do not have that, what are you doing here feeling about anybody, right, Rachel?
Exactly. And I think I'm going to go back to Rick's experience again. So I went to Rick's retreat as a designer from the UK. And whilst I do travel to the US a lot, I still had this sense of, oh my God, am I going to be walking into a room of LA designers? Is this like selling Sunset? You know, I'm just a girl from Yorkshire, you know? And I was nervous. I'm not going to lie. I was quite nervous. And I think you have to go through the door to realize that the people on the other side are actually, you know, we're all just the same, and nobody has actually any ego when you speak to them. Remember that the way that we judge people is what we see in their highlight reels on Instagram. And this is not always the authentic version of the people and who they really are. And the community summit creates an intimacy that I don't think you get when you go to a design show like DecoRex or High Point, and it's an open auditorium where people can walk in and walk out. Because what you have to remember is that there is a sensitivity around what we discuss. We want to talk about the things that we find the most challenging, and they're the things that are not easy to find online. So we want to talk about, you know, what does a studio do when we're hitting economic tricky times? You know, how do we manage contracts? You know, client journeys and client experiences, and how do we manage those things? And these are the conversations that I think need to be had to an extent in private, because we all need to protect our brand, and we all need to be careful what we say in an open forum. And so the events create that intimacy that actually I do think you can let your guard down, and you can be human, and you can say, hey, you know, I listened to what you said there, and I'm really, you know, it just hit the note. I really needed to hear that today. And for me, that's the value, because in public, we will talk about the gloss and the glaze and the headlines and the you know, the things that are, you know,
the things that we figured out.
Yeah.
In public, we'll be happy to tell you the things that we're confident about and we figured out. But it's like that next layer. But this part I don't have quite so locked down. Like, how do I do that part?
That's where we come in.
Exactly.
Exactly.
This industry, it's complicated. It's got so many moving parts, and it's also high risk. And it comes with clients with high expectations, quite rightly. And I actually think that the gaps appear, and the client experience and profitability and all of those things suffer when we don't understand how to be better and how to protect ourselves and give our clients a better outcome. So there's only good to come from it. And I think the other thing that I really noticed when I was in Rick's retreat was, I sat and observed these other designers in the room who clearly knew each other. It was like, you guys already speak. I mean, you're not like enemies. You don't like, because in the UK, it has changed a little bit, I will be honest, but it has
Thanks
been
to
so,
you.
It's definitely opening up, yes. But it's been so secretive. And who are our peers? Our peers are people that we don't speak to, and we should. And I saw these designers in the room at Rick's event, and I'm like, wow, I've got serious kind of friend envy right now, because these designers are genuinely friends with one another. And being in our industry is lonely. And I think that's the other thing. We don't need to be lonely, really. That's self-imposed, isn't it? So bringing all these people together and realizing that actually we're all running a similar kind of business. We might have a geographical difference and scale difference, but really the process and the journey is quite similar. It just takes down so many barriers.
Yeah. And the thing is, it was interesting to your point. I think the secrecy, like in the US, it was the same. And, I know when I started my podcast more than 10 years ago now, I wasn't aware that it was secret. I was like, we're here to talk about business. Like, and for me, like if you were on my show and I asked you a question specifically and you gave me a roundabout answer, I just kept coming at you until you gave me the answer, because I didn't think, oh, you don't want to say it on air. I'm like, oh, you didn't understand my question. So, but the point is, for me, I came from a franchise system. When we opened Window Works, it was originally part of a franchise. And the benefit, the franchise imploded, it ended up, disbanding. But the benefits of that franchise were, from day one, when we opened our showroom, we were not in business alone. We could call the home office, or we could call another showroom that was 20 minutes away and be like, and like we were the first one in New Jersey. My husband, Vinny, he ended up being the one to franchise the rest of the state for the owners of the franchise. He put up, his criteria was 20 minutes or more. But another Window Works with the exact same name could be within 20. We owned 3 franchises, no more than 20 minutes from each other, and each built its own profitable, multiple 6-figure business in the 80s. They would be 7-figure businesses now. And so for us, it's kind of like the concept of Starbucks. Starbucks doesn't put a Starbucks on every 5th corner in Manhattan. They're like, oh, well, 4 blocks away, they can walk to it. No, they put one on all 4 corners. Let's not make them walk across the street. Why should they get Pete's Coffee over there and Starbucks here? Because they're not going to cross the street. So for me, I'm just like, the power is in the shared knowledge. I'm really good at one thing. You're good at something else. You're 20 minutes away, or you're a country away, or a state away. Go do you, boo. I'll do me here. It's all good. So, I think that when you say, we make up in our mind, I don't know that either the design industry in the US or the design industry UK following us, 8-10 years later with this is, it's not that any one of you are individually. I don't believe any designer is individual. Okay, let's find 1% of all the designers ever that are individually going, I'm not telling you my secrets. I don't think it's that. I think it's more, I don't know who to tell my secrets to that can help me with them. You know what I mean? So you guys are making the room for this to happen, you know?
And also combined with the challenge of, I'm afraid to ask. Which I also think that experiences like this and just the community in general is really helping break down, not only having designers come out of left field who are saying, I'm willing to share, I'm willing to talk, I'm willing to be transparent. But I think that encourages other design professionals to say, okay, then that's empowering me to ask the questions that I've always wanted to ask.
Yeah. And that's something that was a perceived barrier to me when I was starting the event, is that when we were selecting potential panelists, I was kind of worried on two sides of the coin. It was like, would somebody in the audience ask a question that they then wouldn't answer? So I had to lay the groundwork and say, this is a safe space.
Say yes if you're going to protect.
You will get asked
stay
anything.
Outside the door. It's okay.
And that's been the best part for me, seeing, because you do get some people in the audience who go, well, I'm here for the day. This is my one shot at asking the question, and they go for it. But actually seeing the people answer it, everybody in the room, you can see them, writing it down and taking a screenshot and all that. And it's, that it's reaching parts of their business that they'd otherwise not get to. And for me, there's just so much satisfaction in that. And there's also a lot to be said for this this dual kind of US UK point of view, because design is principally the same on both sides of the Atlantic, isn't it? We both have the same thing. We've got a client, we've got a contractor, we've got a site, we've got a program, we've got an investment, we've got all of the things. But there is a different point of view to how all of those things come together. And you don't know what you've never considered. And there are certain things that have been said by yourself and by Rick over the years that I've known you, where I've kind of gone, why have I never thought that way? And
I could do that this way here. Nobody said I couldn't.
And I do think there is a lot to be said for just lifting your head up from, what you're surrounded by and what you're immersed in and what you see all the time, and seeing something different and hearing a different approach to the same process. It's like an extra level of, light bulb moments that come through. I use the example of when I came to Rick's event, and I think there was a part of the day that was speaking about the client experience. And one of the designers in the room who was attending said, well, when it's Halloween, I take pumpkins. And I'm thinking, what? And she explains that when she's going to see a client, she always takes some pumpkins, whether they're decorative or they're pumpkins for the kids to carve. And then suddenly I'm thinking, oh my God, how mean am I? I don't drive around in October with a boot full of pumpkins. But it was just that I had never...
Be ashamed of yourself, Rachel.
It's just...
You call yourself a kind designer?
No, I'm starting to rethink our friendship, Rachel.
And it is those moments where you go, well, why not?
It's not that hard to
but
do.
I've never considered it at all.
Listen, a lot of people ask us about that. They ask me at retreat. Actually, the attendees don't typically ask this question. It's usually the sponsors, who we love and we appreciate. But there's naturally there tends to be a little bit of pushback sometimes because of the size of the group.
Yeah.
But we always reinforce. I mean, I have stuck to a small group for 7 years now. And I feel like that format is so good for so many reasons. First of all, you're going to meet everyone in the room. And we've emulated that group size in the UK as well. But going back to what you were saying about sharing, what these designers will say either to each other or from the stage in front of 24 people is very different than what they would say in front of 240 or 2,400. And so while there's a lot to be said for having large scale events with tons of people, the smaller it becomes, the more impact I feel it has. And our speakers and our attendees have all demonstrated that. And that's why we've stuck to that format.
Yeah, it's so true, because I've done LuAnn Live with 250 people, but I have done 10, 12, 15 times Power Talk Friday, which is a max of 24, 25 designers. Same thing. And, to your point, Rick, when you're going to a prospective sponsor on this, and in one hand, they're like, wait, 25 people? And I'm like, hey, it's not only just 25 people, but I might only get 8 that sign up this time. How about that? And the money's the same. How about that? Right. But the thing is, once a sponsor has done it for a small group like this, they're just like the participant. They get it. It's like, oh, I'm not just a banner on the stage. I've actually been introduced to this designer. And in your case, you're a lot of times having the sponsor host us in their showroom.
Yeah.
And so they're seeing the product and the, deliverables of that particular sponsor. And it's more meaningful for the designer to speak to somebody one-on-one about their products and services and really understand, because I'm always telling designers, or salespeople, I should say, when I'm talking with designers, when they will believe me that they're salespeople, and also window treatment people who get it. It's when you're talking to your prospective consumer, let's talk about our origin story. Why does this matter? And so when I come across a sponsor for the podcast or for an event like you guys are doing, it's like I'm saying to them, tell that designer why you're a rep for this company. What is your personal reason for being a rep? What if you're the founder of the company? Why? You could have started a car repair shop. You started this appliance, company. Like, because the designer can then not only admire and attach to that story, but they bring that story to the prospective client. And now the client starts to get brand loyalty to that. And yes, there's value in big conferences that ASID and IDS do, where the sponsor is a poster and a 5-second blurb to announce a speaker. But never should a sponsor ever underestimate the power of being in a room with 10 to 20 interior designers, because it really does have benefits in different ways, right?
Yeah. Quality over quantity.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think, again, from the showrooms that we have worked with as sponsors, we also want to make sure that the designers feel immersed in their brand, but don't feel sold to. And there's a very
that's exactly what
important
happened.
sweet spot. And if we can work with amazing and beautiful studios that elevate the attendee experience and actually showcase their product and their value that they bring to the designers, then it's a win-win on both sides, because the designers get a lovely day in a beautiful environment, but they also get to touch and feel and sit on and spend time in, and it's much more connecting than just seeing a brand on somewhere. So do you want me to say
you nailed it, because you didn't feel sold to. It was you felt hosted. You felt cared for.
Yeah.
You felt like, hey, my house is your house. You want to talk about the things in my house? Great. If not, you want to talk about what happened in the summit this morning? That's cool too. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, last year they shut down the showrooms for us all day long.
Oh my
like
God.
the whole day. Yes, there were people still walking in and out, onesie twosies, but they committed to us for the entire day. That's a big ask,
And
it was in the Chelsea Design District. Are you doing it in the same area this year, or I feel like you moved it a little bit?
We're moving to Marylebone, which it's a nice part of the Monopoly board. So day one, we're at Vizog, which is a Swiss appliance brand, but it's a beautiful contemporary showroom, and they have an in-house chef, and they're going to host us for the whole day, closed showroom, and provide us with breakfast, and then the chef will prepare lunch for us, and it will all be in a really beautiful dining room setting.
Oh my goodness.
So we'll be there all day. And then we will stumble out of there into Iba, which is a Spanish kitchen brand that has just launched here in the UK. And they're across the road, so very close. I'm going to have cocktails there. Nice. And the second day, we're in Neptune, which is where we had lunch last year. And we have some additional sponsors to help cover costs of food and things, so it's only right I mentioned those as well. So we have High Point, which is our American trade event. High Point is
getting on the bandwagon. Good old High Point. Good for them.
Right.
High Point is getting involved, and Interior Net are also going to sponsor us again, which they have done for the last 2 years, which is great. So the format will be similar. The showrooms will be closed. It will be private, just for our use for the day, and the guest experience will be elevated, and we will create that intimate time where people can speak to the panelists, and we'll have the panelist discussions, but there will be opportunities to have mix and mingle.
Yeah, it was so just high end, like beautiful food, beautifully presented, artistic food. It wasn't just like, here's your bag lunch with your chips and your cookie. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's so
It was
true.
really beautiful.
The experience is very different, and if I may, for American designers who are interested in just kind of like being a part of this, and listen, in the States, we have options. I know that this concept is a little new to the UK, but in the States, as we all know, there's more than one retreat or conference or, to go to every year, mine being one of them. And they're all amazing in their own way. But there's a lot to be said for going overseas and experiencing it in a very different way. Just the showrooms in London, the entire design district, the designers that you're surrounded with, having that kind of international perspective from not only your peers, but the people that are on stage presenting. There's so much value in it. It's so amazing. So if you're looking for something different, I highly recommend it.
You know what? I need to echo that. That was my, listen, I just, as we're recording this at the end of March, I just spent being on a plane every week to a different place since January 20th. I mean, for 8 weeks straight. So I go to design events all the time and I love them. It's my favorite thing to do, to show up at an event, meet all the people, do a presentation, meet the hosts of the event. But I have to say, it was different. Mm-hmm. It was special. It was, there was, I guess too, I think when you go to High Point is amazing. I love High Point. Vegas market, love it. But when you go, you are your own person running from thing to the thing. Yeah. This was 2 days with the same people. Mm-hmm. And so you show up and you're like, oh, I didn't have a chance to speak with you yesterday. Let me have breakfast with you. Or I had lunch with you yesterday and you're great. Let me go and find you during cocktail hour. It's like that next level of intimacy. And we did have not just UK designers. You had designers from all over the UK. People were like, I'm from 3 hours away for us. But then we had the designer from Spain. Mm-hmm. We had Terry from the US that came. Mm-hmm. I think Terry was the only US designer, right?
This year, This past year.
Last year, yeah. But, Terry loved it just as much as we did. And it is interesting to sit and talk with the UK designers on their perspectives. And the ones that are there, I think, bring to it the same sensibility, Rachel, that you came out of Rick's event with, that you wanted to instill. Like, you are not alone. You do not have to be alone. And all you have to do is show up and say, I'm part of the people here. Like you said, walk through the door. Yeah. It was really, it's a great event. I'm looking forward to it. So you have Helen is committed. So she was an attendee. She impressed the heck out of me. I was like, what? So tell us a little bit about her business. And because I remember bits and pieces, but I'm probably going to get something wrong.
So we have Helen Bygraves and Jenny Weiss, who are the directors and founders of Hill House Interiors. They're a large UK design practice with a studio in London and one in Dubai. They are big names here in the UK. Last year, Helen came as an attendee because, LuAnn, she wanted to hear you.
How about that?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah. So she has, both of them actually have agreed to come back and be on the panel this year. We have Sally O'Connor, who is a designer from a company, which I'm sorry, Sally, if I pronounced this wrong, Hezelic Design. Oh, I'm worried now. Probably pronounced that wrong. Sally has achieved great things, so she's going to be another force to be reckoned with. And then we have the lovely Jo Calvert, who is from Isla James Interiors, and Isla James is an interior design practice and also a lighting design company. So they've got the two. So we do have other people that we are in talks with, but we can't release them just yet, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's it. But this is going to be great. I mean, Helen and Jenny, I feel like they had like 30 employees between the two locations or something,
huge,
right?
Yeah, huge practice. Yeah. And they've been going for probably 30 years as well.
Yes.
They've done some collections. In fact, I'm sure they're doing Wow House as well. So
Oh, is that happening at the same time like it was last year?
So that's another thing
that's
to mention.
Like that big design thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and I already didn't make my plane in time to do it the day before. Dang it. I forgot all about that. So it's like a big show house, right?
Yes.
It's like a big...
So we've tried to coincide it with an event that runs in London that allows people to kind of double up if they want. So Wow House is at the Chelsea Design Centre, and it runs for the whole of June. It runs for a month, and it's like an artificial installation of a show home inside the design centre, and all the rooms are themed on a different sort of narrative, and lots of design studios and fabric houses and lighting companies and all of that, they collaborate and they take a room, and it is really quite it's pushing the boundaries of design, so it's a really good thing to tag onto. So then of course,
like if you're coming from another country, this is like, if you need another reason to come, right? It's like, don't be like me and make your reservation for the day before, make it for 2 or 3 days before or after, right? And because I remember, when I came into town, Rick and some others saying, "Oh, did you get to the Wow House?" I'm like, what the heck is a Wow House?
Listen, it's pretty spectacular. Last year, I took my car from the airport to the hotel, checked in, and then hopped in another car and went directly to Wow House, because I also didn't have a lot of time on my hands, but I didn't want to miss it because the year before was so exceptional. So yeah, to that point, anyone that's going, add that to your list. And LuAnn, we're gonna kidnap you and get you there before.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to miss my nap from traveling and do that, I think.
You have to power through. You're gonna have to power through it.
That's it.
And I think the other thing that I don't want to miss is the fact that you guys are both presenting as well, and people do want to hear your input as well. Bringing that energy that LuAnn, you've got a little bit of energy going on.
We didn't get booed off the stage last year, LuAnn, so.
I know, I kept saying, it's so funny because we both are, our point of view and our way to do things. Once you were in, for me anyway, once that I was in London, I was like, oh, whoa, I am so extra for these people, right? And so here's what I know, even Rick, as mild and calm and refined as he is, he's a little extra. And I'm just like, holy crow, are they ever going to let me back again, But thankfully, most of them that were there were aware of my podcast and were expecting it. So.
The good news is she's coming back.
That's it. But I remember this is, I mean it with so much love and just admiration for the differences in culture, right? Where at some point, I think we went to dinner the night before, and Jude was there last year. Jude is coming again, right?
I
Jude
hope
Charles,
so.
Right? Yeah, right. So we were out, us together, and I feel like, Rachel, you kind of made a joke, like a self-deprecating joke about Englanders, right? Like, Probably. Oh, we have to apologize before we do everything or say everything, blah, blah, blah. And I just kind of went through the air. Like, I'm aware of it, like, whatever, I didn't. And then what was so funny was the next day, I swear to goodness, every single time somebody got done speaking, they'd be like, are there any questions? And 2-1, a Londoner designer or a UK designer would raise their hand and say, sorry, I do have a question though. And I'm like, but that's the whole point of the Q&A. But literally, there was 5 questions. 5 started with, sorry, I do have a question. And so when we were done and you had me wrap it up the day, and I was like, sorry, I'm going to kick your butt a little now. Get ready. This has all been fun and games, but now it's time to go take some action. Sorry, get ready.
Sorry,
10 out of 10 on the accent.
Sorry, not sorry. I'm from Jersey, actually the New Jersey.
Oh, this is so true. This is so true.
It was just so sweet, the differences in the culture and the sensibilities and the earnestness of everybody there really did show up with a frame of mind of, I'm here to learn, and I'm here to share. I mean, that was just such a great culture you guys built around this. You really did.
And this is one of those things where as long as people keep coming back, I think we're going to keep doing it. Listen, like I said, I've been doing it in the States for 7 years now. And every year I say, this is my last year. And then as soon as it happens, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're already planning, next year. And then when Rachel said, hey, let's do it in the UK, can we partner on this? And it's like, why would you want to plan 2 weddings per year every year as if you have nothing else to do in your life?
3 months apart or 2 months apart.
Exactly. But, there's something to be said about, what you experience there, and how the audience really just demonstrates their appreciation for what they receive on all levels. It's something else.
It reminds me of, Rach, you have kids. I don't remember if you have kids or not.
I have 2, 20 and 17. Not really kids.
Okay, girls and
one of
girls?
each. We've got the full set.
Okay. So here's what I always remember. My one daughter, she would, dance lessons, right? Mm-hmm. Every week. I don't want to go. She's like 6 years old. I'm watching this. I'm going to do that. I'm with my friends. Blah, blah, blah. You got to go. And then we get to the recital. And I'm like, and every week I'm like, that is it. You are never taking these lessons again. I am canceling this crap. You are not. And then you see the recital and you're like, oh my God, she's so cute. Like, she's so amazing. And I'm like, did you like, I loved it, mommy. Okay, we'll do this torture for 9 more months next year. You know what I'm saying?
Next year, next week.
You know what I mean? It's like, so that's the thing. It's when you're removed from, I'm in the same boat as you with a lot of running different events. When you're removed from it and you're in the thick of it, all of the who didn't sign their agreement yet, who didn't commit yet, which vendor said yes, which sponsor is still on the fence. And you're just like, sweet Jesus, this is it. I'm done. And then you're there and you're like, oh, I'll do this again.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
And shout out to Chloe on my team, because she
my gosh. Okay, let's take a moment for Chloe.
Yes. Chloe
silence
right
for Chloe.
Hand, you guys, right?
Honestly.
Chloe is our boots on the ground, and she's just so incredible. She's the one making the phone calls. And listen, I wish I could take more credit for this than I am, but I can't, because listen, I'm in the States and they're in the UK. Like, we're in a totally different country. And so when we agreed to kind of partner on this, the understanding was, there's only so much I can do from here. And I know firsthand, it's a lot of picking up the phone, following up on emails. It feels like you're asking for a favor every 10 minutes from someone. And Chloe, God bless her, she's so dedicated to the cause and to the mission. And, she's fearless, and she's on it, and she's
on it.
She's amazing.
Like, you ask her a question, she has it or she gets it. Not like, I don't know. Oh, that's awesome, sweetie. If you don't, who does? Like, do you know how many events I'm at? And I'm like, hey, what about blah, blah, blah? And they're like, I'm like, okay, this is not going to work for me. You know what I'm saying?
I think there's a level of care amongst all of us. You're traveling to the other side of the world for 3 days? It's a lot. It's a big ask out of your own schedules. And I know that Chloe cares deeply. Before this podcast recording, she's been messaging me, telling me who I can release and who I can't release, and keeping me on track. But there is a level of pride, again, in what we are delivering, because I want designers to come and I want them to feel enriched, and I want them to feel that we care for them and their experience. And I think all of us have, the designers that come, it's them at the heart of it. Because they are every one of us, aren't they? They're sat in their studios going through all of the hurdles, and they are reflected in us. And I think that's kind of why we do it. And that's what Rick lit in me when I went to his event. And I'm delighted that I went, because if I hadn't have gone to Rick's event, the UK would probably still be a more secretive place. And you coming over here and taking the lid off these conversations and bringing your energy into the room when we all sit there and go, the Americans are here, you can hear them.
It is crazy.
Here they come.
In a room of Americans, I'm extra, let alone over there.
Oh, it's brilliant. It is. It's what makes it. It's what makes it really special. It is.
And kudos to you, Rachel, for being the champion of this there, because honestly, again, talk about boots on the ground. And I know that you're having these conversations on a daily basis while running an incredible design studio. to do what you're doing and to really be so passionate about community there and getting behind this, I think is so special.
Yeah, it takes somebody to do it, not just think about it.
Yeah.
And you're doing
You're
it by starting the podcast and, and to Rick's point, while running your luxury design firm. It's not like, it's like this is the only thing you have to do. So it's really incredible. So dates are June 22nd and 23rd, 2026. We're talking about the 2026 summit. So if you're hearing this in the future, just see what the date is in 27 or 28. Yeah. And what website, give us the URL they go to learn about the day and to sign up?
So thebusinessofinteriors.co.uk.
Okay. And we'll put
all the information's there
in the show notes.
And then we can add a link to my website as well. If you guys go to Design Biz Survival Guide as well and go to retreats, you'll see information on both the US retreat and then the UK summit as well. You can click directly there.
Yeah.
And again, you can find us on Instagram and the link will be straight on our Instagram as well.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. I just am so looking forward to it. I'm so thrilled to be included again. And I just can't say enough. I've been telling my chairman of the board, you got to go. I got one. Right there. Nice. She's ready to buy that ticket. So I'm super excited. And she's a great lady. I hope she does come because she will add a lot to the conversation. She's a seasoned designer, probably 15 years in her own firm, runs a multiple 7-figure firm, has a dozen or so employees. So, but then I've also encouraged, my COBs that are a year in business to come. It's like, because I know there's no, to your earlier point, there is no intimidation factor and there's no expectation factor. It is just us in a room and it's an awesome feeling. So thank you guys for heading this up and for doing it and, making it known to all of us. I appreciate you both so much.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. It wouldn't be the same without you.
Yeah, thank you, LuAnn, for giving us time on this platform. We know how impactful it is, and we appreciate that. And thank you so much for your support, for speaking last year, and for coming back this year. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Thank you.
So what did you hear in this conversation? Because I'll tell you what I heard in this conversation, and it's this. Getting in the room matters. Not just any room, the right room. One where people are willing to be honest, where they're caring, where the conversations go below surface level, and where you can actually learn something that changes how you run your business. If you're newer in business, this is one of the fastest ways to grow. You know how many times somebody says to me, I'm not quite sure I'm ready to do that yet. I'm only in business 1 year. I'm only in business 3 years. No, day one, you're ready. Right? You're ready because you could spend years trying to figure out something on your own, or you could spend a couple of days listening to and talking to peers and designers who are at your level and ahead of you, asking your questions and shortcutting that learning curve. Okay? There's no comparison for this experience that can teach you in any other way in your business. And if you've been in business a while, then you already know. The challenges don't go away. They just change, right? Like when have you ever woken up and thought, it's all easy now? The decisions get bigger, the stakes get higher, and sometimes the circle of people you can be with, that you can be candid with, gets smaller, right? That's why spaces like this matter. Not because you don't know what you're doing, but because excellent business owners stay in the conversation. They stay curious and they stay open to knowing and learning better ways of doing things. I have to tell you, every single time I've been at any kind of intimate event like this, whether I've run it or I've been part of someone else's, I learned something with 40 plus years in business. Okay. Now, the other notable thing about this is the size and the intention behind their event. Smaller, more focused, much more interactive than the big events that you attend at High Point in the different markets. That's where this value is. That's because in this situation, you can actually ask the question you've been sitting on. There's someone you can say, hey, how do I do this to? Okay? And they can tell it to you and you can go home and implement it. Instead of watching a really great panel discussion and being like, I can't ask this question. It's too in the weeds. There's nothing too in the weeds when there are 20 people in a room. That's the whole point of the room. It's the weeds room. Okay. And as you heard, I'm going to be there. And I'd love for you to be there as well. I'd love to spend those 2 days talking with you about your business, hearing what's working, what's not, and introducing you to the designers that I met last year who come year after year and are doing incredible things. So don't leave me over there, by the way, as one of the only Americans in the room, being my usual extra self, asking all the questions and stirring things up. All right, come join me. Let's go in force. Let's do it together. I know you'll be glad that you did. Go to thebusinessofinteriors.co.uk to learn more. And right now, go put June 22nd and June 23rd, 2026 on your calendar. Because you know what? Growing your business and becoming more profitable and being more efficient and getting all the ideas, it doesn't happen in isolation. It doesn't happen in your studio on the 3rd floor of your house. It happens in rooms like this. Thank you so much, Rachel and Rick. I just adore you guys and what you are doing, and I'm so honored and thrilled to be a part of it. And I can't wait to get there. And thank you for listening today. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of LuAnn Niagara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or LuAnn University, go to LuAnnNiagara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to WindowWorksNJ.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.